Tell me you didn't blink. You blinked. You missed me. I'm back. And you probably hope you got something to drink so you can do a couple more blinks with me. Chapter 4. I wake up early on Sunday. A white light flooded in the bedroom. I'm never going to get used to the lack of curtains. My paranoia of yesterday evening is forgotten in the security of the bright morning with the tweeting of birds and the gentle roar of the sea. I've tossed and turned for ages last night, unused to the complete darkness and crushing silence. By the time we were going to bed, there was no longer any moonlight filtering in. It was as dark as if I was closing my eyes. Even as a kid, I had to have a nightlight. I could sense rather than see Ziggy at the end of the bed, and I strained my ears for any sound, but there was nothing apart from the wind and the distant roar of the sea. No noise. No planes in the sky, no voices from neighbors, no distant music. The silence stretched on and on. Coupled with the darkness, it felt oppressive, as though we were the only people left in the universe. I was relieved when dawn arrived. Jamie is snoring gently beside me now. Ziggy's slumbering on top of the duvet. His heavy body deadened my legs. I gently pushed him away with my feet. Ziggy, I hissed, you shouldn't be on the bed. We allow him at home. But it feels wrong on Taro's pristine right duvet cover. He annoys me, only shifting his body enough to allow me to swing my legs out of bed. He's like, look, I've been here all night. I slept here. If it's a problem, it's too late. You better wash it. Above the bed is a huge wedding photo of Tierra and Philip. I'm like, y'all did it under the picture, so, I mean, go ahead. Or did they? Did they do it in this room? They look so in love, so handsome. Her in a sweeping full-length gown, him in a damper well-cut suit and ivory silk tie. She looking up at him with such love on her face, and he smiling softly down at her. Did Jamie and I look like that when we got married? So devoted. They appear a lot younger here than they do in the newspaper. There is no evidence of Gray and Philip's dark brown hair, and Tierra's complexion is flawless. Her brown eyes larger than her slimmer face. I imagine them to be at least 15 years older than us, which would make them around 44. But they can't be more than our age in their wedding photo. I want to know more about Tierra, this beautiful, privileged woman in whose house I'm living. I kiss the top of Ziggy's head fondly, then wrap my dressing gown around me and head into the bathroom without waking Jamie. I go to the loo, glancing aimlessly at the roll-top bath, the shiny chrome taps with the shelves of extravagant scented candles on the wall above. I've always wanted one of those candles, but they are way out of my price range. Really? I imagine Tierra luxuriating in the bathroom with bubbles, reading a book on mindfulness while the room is pervaded with its inquisitive scent. It's not that inquisitive, but okay, alright. I wash my hands, then reach out and lift one from the shelf and inhale deeply. I can smell the margarine and lime. Excitement makes my heart pound. Would anyone notice if I took one? And there are at least 6 of them. More than she needs. Surely she wouldn't remember how many she bought, and she can't be that bothered she's keeping them in her holiday home. I glance toward the door nervously as though expecting Tierra to be standing there. I can just about see the 4-poster bed. Jamie is still sleeping, one arm flung over his eyes. I look down at the candle in my hand. It's still lit. Whichever way I look at it, I put it back reluctantly. Thank you. I rolled around in the cupboard under the sink, not sure exactly what I'm looking for. Just being nosy, I guess. I find a bottle of Tom Ford perfume in a turquoise blue bottle. I remove the lid and spray the lemony fragrance on my neck and wrist. Is it smelling good? This must be what Tierra smells like. Expensive. I replace it, noticing a large wash bag pushed to the back of the cupboard. What the hell am I saying? I'm just about to reach for it when I hear Jamie calling. Lips, are you alright? I close the cupboard hastily and return to the bedroom. Jamie is leaning on one elbow. Ziggy still asleep at the foot of the bed. Why do you look so guilty? He's smiling. You're not been trying on Tierra's clothing again, have you? I feel myself blushing. Blimmy J, I've just been in for a wee. He stretches. I ate this morning. This bed is too soft. You sound like Goldilocks. I'm going downstairs to make a cup of tea. I say, walking toward the door, slightly miffed that he'll be closer to the truth than he realized with his jibs about Tierra's clothes. I flop into the white linen sofa. It's L-shaped, and I stretch myself out on the chaise part, resting my head against the feather pillows. I examine. Okay, so we do know what they look like. Okay, kick that out. So we know what they look like. We know who at our house now. The patterned throw pillows and finger the dull gray cashmere blanket thrown over the back, wondering where she got them from and whether I emulate the look in my own flat. If only we had more money to update our home. This mad thought that she got, the writer got her having, you do not need to have that mad thought. It's not a good mad thought, okay? Not good mind thought already. She's negative Nancy over here. Now the negative over here. Definitely when it comes to money. It could do with repainting, and our sofa is one of Sylvia's cast-off, too big and old-fashioned for our flat. I must have dozed off because I woke in by loud rock music. I sit up with a start, my heart racing. The TV on the opposite wall is blaring, and I glaze around for Jamie, thinking he must have come down and turned it on. Then I see him rushing down the stairs in his boxer shorts and a t-shirt, his hair standing up on end, and Ziggy at his heels. For fuck's sakes, Lib, you don't need to put it on so loud. He has a shout to be heard over the music. I didn't turn it on. I stare at the screen confused. A heavy metal band is rocking on live stage, sweat pouring down the lead singer's face. It came on by itself. He's frowning as he wanders over to the TV. Where's the remote? Where's the remote? He shouts. I don't know. I didn't turn it on. Like I've already said, I snap. He knows how much I hate loud music. It's so deafening that I have to leave the room. I go into the kitchen, my body trembling, and wrap my dressing gown farther around my body as though it's soundproof. How did this TV come on by itself? I feed Ziggy and make a cup of tea. It's easy with no kettle to boil. They have one of those instant boiling taps next to the sink. I can still hear the music from the next room, so I rustle open the bifold door and wander into the garden. The stone slabs cold beneath my bare feet. From outside, I can see Jamie opening and closing drawers in the television cabinet, trying to find a way to turn the TV down. I'm thankful that we don't have neighbors to complain about the noise. Ziggy seems unpetrified by the disturbance and joins me in the garden. It's all right, I say, bending down and throwing my good arm around his neck. He looks longingly at the lawn. Go on, it's okay, I say, standing up again and watches as he ambles across the dewy grass. I wander to the edge of the pavement slabs and then stop. There are large footprints on the lawn. Large, man-sized. I swerve around to see if the side gate is closed. I remember noting it was closed when we arrived yesterday, as I wanted the garden to be secure for Ziggy. Now it's wide open, swinging in the breeze. I think again of the open front door yesterday, and goosebumps prop up along my arms. Gotta get the fuck up out of here. We gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go. We can't stay here no more. I don't know what's going on. We gotta go. We gotta go. Y'all like, please, why is we leaving? We just gotta go. Gotta go. I don't know. Y'all here ain't got no neighbor. Somebody else is out here. What? Who is it? I don't know. Lives, says Jane from the upteam time as we stroll along the beach later that day. Please stop being paranoid. I told you. Black and seaweed crunches underfoot. The beach is almost deserted. Just the occasional dog walker ambling past. Ziggy runs ahead of us, his tongue hanging out as he prances along the shoreline, getting his paws wet. It's windy, and I've got a hat pressed onto my head. It feels heavy under the weight of its enormous bobble. Tell me what? That those footprints could have been there for ages? I doubt that. It has rained in the last few days, you know. And what about the gate? And the TV? He sighs. The TV was on a timer. I managed to work it out now. I don't know why the volume was turned up so high. Maybe Philip and Tierra like loud rock music. They don't seem like the type. Jamie stops walking and releases my hand. How do you know if they're the type? You don't know them. You have no idea who they are. I feel close to tears. What do you mean I have no idea? I know a lot about them already. I know they like things. They do a lot of work for charity. Philip is a doctor, a surgeon. Tira's, well, she's a homemaker and a mother. She's beautiful and caring. They have a child who is seriously ill. Libby, Jamie says gently, coming toward me. I know you've spoken to him on the phone. Seen their photos, rummaged through their belongings, read about him in the newspapers, and we're staying in their home. But they're strangers. I know that. Good. Because they probably aren't perfect, you know. They still shit and piss like the rest of us. I pushed him away. Jay, don't be cruel. I'm just saying, they're human. Don't put them on a pedestal just because they're stinking rich. He's right. That's exactly what I've been doing. I've always been impressed by people who are high flyers, who have luxury lifestyles, who have class. Maybe it's because I grew up with parents who were absolutely scrabbling around for cash. Or in my mom's case, working extra cleaning jobs just to make ends meet. She was always talking about Miss Hogrum from the big house in odd tones, as though she considered her better than us just because she lived in a 5-bedroom detached home. I take Jamie's hand slightly, and he holds eye contact for a fraction too long, but he doesn't say anything else about it. Instead, we paddle in the sea with our trousers rolled up, then search for crabs in the rock pools. When we get back to the house, windswept with sand in our hair and on our skin, we tumble into the bedroom, shredding our clothes as we both head towards the walk-in shower. Me laughing as Jamie grabs me around the waist and kisses my neck. I know he's trying to take my mind off my anxiety. It's what he does. What he's been doing ever since the miscarriage. Always trying to fix me. Girl. I gotta pay attention to the time, y'all. I was devastated when we lost the baby. I think everybody was surprised by how badly I took the news. It was just cells, Sylvia said. No bigger than a peanut. You lost her doing a brave, selfless thing, Sierra. It's nature's way of telling you that something was wrong with the baby, insisted Jamie's older sister, Flory. Jamie had never seen me collapse so emotionally before. He always admired me independently. Girl, you can't be birth strong for everybody. You gotta be there for yourself. Or you will crumble and fall, okay? Ooh, it's gonna be long, y'all. I'm so sorry. If you wanna, I'm gonna let you know right now. If you wanna go ahead and unsubscribe, you might as well do that because these chapters are long, and I might not even get 2 chapters in one. I'm so sorry right now. Jamie had never seen me collapse so emotionally before. He always admired my independence, he said. My strength. He loves to hear how I pulled myself from the gutter, as he called it, to get an education, to follow my dreams of becoming a teacher. How I given everything up to go traveling to Thailand by myself after my parents died. But children are my Archie's heel. I love them. I love being a teacher to them. And I so desperately wanted to be a mother to my own. And now things are different between us. Jamie no longer sees me in the same light, I can tell. He's more protective. As far as he's concerned, I'm now a fragile being with my broken arm and my empty womb. I get palpitations at loud noises when I never did before. I'm nervy, paranoid, scared. I feel like I'm losing control, and it has turned my carefully orchestrated world upside down. The world I worked so hard to create. Oh. Fibbed? I'm on chapter 5. Whoop! If you didn't catch that fib, drop it down in the comments. Chapter 5. Things is ringing in my ear. It's deafening, grating, and monotone like a pneumonic drill. Familiar. A fire alarm. Panic consumes me, spinning me down, crushing my chest. Fire. I need to escape. A cold sweat breaks out all over my body. I'm in a hostel. It's too hot. The darkness clogging in, trapping me. I can hear the sound of running feet, shouts in a language I can't understand. Screaming. Smoke filling my nostrils and my lungs so I can't breathe. I can feel arms around me. I try to shake them away. Get off. Get off. Libby. It's okay. Shh. Wake up. My eyes snap open to see Jamie staring down at me. His face crumpled with concern. His hands on my shoulder. I'm on a sofa. In a hideaway. I'm safe. I'm safe. I must have fallen asleep. But the noise? I can still hear it. It's just a smoke alarm, says Jamie, as if reading my mind. It's going off in the kitchen. I was making some toast. He smiles apologetically. I wanted some of their fancy pate, but the alarm's too bloody sensitive. It will stop in a minute. I press the button. I pull away from his grasp, and he steps back as though I bitten him. You were having a nightmare. I was trying to wake you up. I shift my weight so I'm sitting upright. I thought the noise stops, and immediately my heart rate slows, even though I can still hear a faint ringing in my ear. Jamie comes to sit next to me, but doesn't touch me. I can see 2 overdone pieces of toast on a plate on the coffee table. The eggs blackened. Lips, you're trembling. I have a nasty taste in my mouth, and my top is clinging to me underneath my dressing gown, damp with sweat. I thought I was in a hostel, I say, disoriented. I scan the room just to make sure I really am at the Hideaway and not in Thailand. Tiara smiles down at me from the black and white canvas on the opposite wall above the TV. Seeing her photo roots me in the present. My chin quivers. I don't want to cry. Jamie notices and pulls me into his arms. Oh, babe. Babe. He hasn't called me that in years. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. She's gonna make me cry, girl. It felt so real, I whisper into his shoulder. My throat sore of smoke really has been suffocating me. I pull away from him and get up, fumbling in my neckline. I can't breathe properly. I walk shakily over to the French doors, turning the key to open one side and stand under the starless sky. Cradling my broken arm. I've taken the sling off, but the cast feels heavy. I flex my fingers. I can't wait to get the bloody thing off. It's so dark outside. The kind of night sky you only really see in the countryside. Deep and thick and never ending. Untainted by pollution and street lamps. I take deep gasps of fresh air. I can taste the salt on my tongue. Hear the roar of the waves from the sea below. Standing here like this, in almost total darkness, makes me realize afresh how remote we are. How far from civilization. I suddenly yearn for our busy Bath Street, with all the people noisily going about their daily lives. It's too silent out here. Too still. You never talk about it. What happened in Thailand? Jamie's voice makes me jump. I turn to see him standing in the doorway, backlit from the muted living room lights. Jamie has spent ages messing with the remote to get the aminus just right. It's not something I want to relive, I say. He doesn't step into the garden, but you do. Relive it, I mean. You relived it just now. And you probably did when that school caught fire. I just want to forget about it. To bury it. It's my way of coping. I never really told him about what happened. To me, to Karen. He knows my friend died. He knows I was lucky to escape. It makes me worry sometimes. The things I haven't told him. Because we shouldn't keep secrets from each other. Yet we do. I know that he's keeping things from me too. The way he felt about Hannah, for example. The loan he got from his mother that he assumes I don't know about. And that's fine. I understand. But we love each other. And we have to trust one another. I don't go in for all this therapy marker key. I will never sit on the couch in a psychologist's office, unloading myself when they ask, and how does that make you feel? That just isn't me. As far as I'm concerned, the past is the past, and it should stay there. No, you gotta explore that. You gotta explore that deep, baby. That deep. You gotta explore that ing, baby. If y'all watch my lives, you know I'm trying to make that ing a word, so don't. And that's on ing. Catch that. When I wake the next morning after restless sleep, Jamie announces we should go out for the day. He doesn't have to say it, but I know he wants to get me out of the house. Me freaking out over the smoke alarm last night was probably the last straw. We could go to St. Maure's and see the castle. It was built by Henry VIII. Meant to be worth seeing, he says over breakfast. Or do you fancy the lighthouse at Lizard Point? He has a map spread out on the kitchen island, and he's pursuing it intensely as he spoons shreddies into his mouth. It always makes me smile how much he loves what I call kid cereal. Frosties are a firm favorite of his too. He never goes anywhere without bringing his own. How far away is the lighthouse? Should be an hour max. I don't relinquish the thought of being cooped up in the car for that long. I can't shake the nausea I've been experiencing since last night. But I hate to burst this bubble. I'd rather visit the lighthouse instead of trapped around a damp, crumbling castle. And it will be good for me to get out of the house, however much I love it. We debate whether to take Ziggy, but decide against it. Although I feel a pang of guilt as he observes us with his big brown eyes as we're leaving. We won't be long, Ziggs, says Jamie. I blow the dog a kiss before Jamie closes the door. His expression is unsure as he faces me. Do you think he'll be okay? What if he sits on the furniture or something? He is house trained, I laugh. Jamie hovers by the door. I don't feel comfortable leaving the lifts. He returns the key to the lock and the door swings open again. Ziggy bounds toward us. I roll my eyes in mock expression. Fine, but he'll have to stay in the car while we visit the lighthouse. And then we can take him for a long walk after. Okay. I like this. Ooh, did I just crap myself on my body? No, I got this, y'all. I got this. I ain't crap myself on my body. Jamie darts back into the house to get the dog lit. And don't forget his water boy, I'll call up to him as I bend down to stop Ziggy bolting. It's colder than it was the day we arrived, with a slate gray sky and an icy wind coming off the sea. I wrap my scarf farther around my neck as Jamie lets Ziggy into the back seat. Don't put the roof down, I say in a warning tone as I get into the passenger side. I'm freezing, and I can't even put my coat on properly with this sling. I wasn't going to put the roof down, he says mildly, but darts a sideways look at me, as though assessing my mood. I want to scream at him, stop walking the fucking eggshells around me. But I can't, because I know it's coming from a place of love. I just hate being treated like some damsel in distress. I know I'm not helping myself with my fears that something terrible is about to happen. And I vow, as the car lumbers along the narrow lanes, to make an effort to pull myself together. To get a hold on these paranoid thoughts. I want Jamie to see me as a strong, independent woman he fell in love with. The woman who didn't take any shit. The woman who his mother once described raging as quite feisty after a heated discussion with Katie about the education system. We don't speak. I stare out the window as the country lane rushes by in flashes of green and gray. Over in the distant fields, I spot sheep, their cotton wool coats against the lush grass, reminds me of a child's drawing. Jamie turns the radio up, but he doesn't sing along. Eventually, he takes a right turn, and I spot the lighthouse adjoined to an array of squat white buildings. The window sills painted a fresh green. The car lunches over the bumpy tarmac, making me feel even more nauseous, and Jamie verses into a space. Right, he says, turning off the engine. Lighthouse first? I'm dying for a Starbucks, I admit. He grins. No Starbucks here, I don't think. But we could try the calf afterwards. Yes, but will they do a caramel macchiato? Probably not. I can't drink coffee unless it's stirred up. You know that. He squeezes my thigh. Sexy. I'll do my best, he promises, the tension between us forgotten. He swirls in his seat to address Ziggy. And when we come back, we'll take you for a long walk, I promise. We amble around the lighthouse with our tour guide, a young pretty girl with red corkscrew curls car roof. I feel claustrophobic in the small circular room with 19 other people. The car sickness still hasn't left me, and the man standing next to me smells unclean. Ooh, this is not good. Jamie is fascinated as Ruth explains the history of the lighthouse, showing us to the top via a rickery staircase to see the phenomenal sea views. I try to appear enthusiastic, but I feel like I'm at work and this is one of our many school trips. Eventually, we are released back outside, and I take deep lungfuls of the fresh sea air, trying to cleanse my system of the smell of unwashed bodies and old, dusty memorabilia. My sense of smell is more accurate than normal. The damp grass, the sea air, the coffee from the nearby cask, the fruity shampoo of a passing woman. The only other time my sense of smell was this good was when I was pregnant. Could I be again? I rubbed my stomach instinctively, deep down knowing it could be unlikely. Before Jamie and I had sex just once. I know it only takes once for it to happen, but I can't be that lucky. I'm like, girl, you know how sex works? One time enough. And you can't be that lucky, you know? Maybe you got your rainbow baby. I went into the grass, deep in thought, before realizing that Jamie isn't with me. I turned to see him hanging about in the arched doorway of the lighthouse, in deep conversation with Ruth. He's listening closely as she talks, his eyebrows knitted together and a look of intense concentration on his face. He must say something funny because she throws back her head in laughter and touches his arm, running her finger down his wool coat for longer than is strictly necessary. I was finna say, this Mashiki, she has to be nearly 10 years his junior, but it's obvious she fancies him. The studious type always do. He's got that foppish, geeky look about him that some women, including me, find sexy, like a blonder, younger Jarvis Cocker. He's wearing a long coat over his scruffy jeans and a red scarf. He looks like a professor, a mature student. I turn my eyes from them and begin to walk slowly toward the calf, knowing that Jamie would eventually catch up with me. When he does, he's breathless and his cheeks are flushed. Oh, you should have went back and got him. Oh. If you're going back and get your band, let me know in the comments. You already know I was comment. Gotta get them in the comments in there so you know what to do. Just because you need something to talk. Do you know, he says, talking quite quickly in his excitement, taking my good arm and linking it through his. Before they switched over to the computer system, Lighthouse had to be manned by 3 men? No, I didn't know. Jamie is always sprouting random, often useless facts. Years ago, it was only 2, but that changed. And why? I shrugged. Come on, Lips, humor me. I sighed. Okay, why? I could see him mentally rubbing his hands with glee. Well, according to Ruth, a long time ago, on a remote island off Wales, one of the 2 men on duty died of a heart attack or something. Anyway, the other was left with a dead body on his arm. For months. By now, we bypassed the calf, much to my dismay, reaching the cliff's edge, and I stopped to ferret in my bag for my phone so that I could take a photograph of the bay below. The sky is overcast, and the winds ruffle our hair and tugs the hems of our coats as though trying to take our attention away from the breathtaking view. The water is an angry-looking navy blue, and the white, furry spray leaps off the rocks and smashes against the ragged shoreline. The noise of the wind mixed with the roar of the sea is deafening, and we almost have to shout to make ourselves heard. He was worried the police would think he killed the man, so he kept his body as evidence and hung it out the window, Jamie continues. Jamie, why would he have to hang his friend's dead body out of the window? Because there's no room in the lighthouse. It was too small, and the bloke was dead, Lips. He starts to decay, to smell. Here, let me do that, he says, taking the phone from my hand when he sees I'm having trouble. I shudder. Thanks. I wrinkle up my nose. The smell in the air is pungent. Sea, salt, and fish. How did he hang him outside? I ask. I can't help but feel curious, even though I should know better to encourage Jamie. He beams, clearly enjoying himself as he imparts this piece of historical gossip. Well, he made a makeshift coffin, put his dead friend inside, and hung it from the lighthouse. He always had a morbid fascination with the weird and wonderful. He's a regular subscriber to the 14 Times. But the weather conditions broke the coffin apart, so eventually the man was left hanging there, decaying, banging against the window as though beckoning to a friend. Can you imagine seeing your friend slowly riding away? And that's where we're going to leave you at with this video. Your friend is hanging outside the window, slowly riding away. You can't tell the story. Remember that.